Welcome back to the Super Not Funny Show Reviews. And today I'm reviewing Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 6. It's titled Lost in Translation, coming to you from Paramount Plus. So, what did I think about it, and should you be watching? Before we get into the review, get down there, hit like on this video. Y'all, I can't believe it. We are getting so much Kirk in this season, and not Sam Kirk, James T. Kirk. This time we get prime, real universe James Kirk, because the Enterprise crew, they are, they're out at a solar system where they're trying to, repair a dilithium collection, station that's in a nebula, and they're being assisted by the USS Farragut, where we find out that James Kirk is a junior officer, and in fact, he's getting ready to, he's getting ready to be promoted to, executive officer. Very cool. That's all good stuff. But this is real. This is an Uhura episode, and she's at the center because she is hearing a strange signal. And she's the only one that seems to hear it. And it's also causing her, hallucinations, very vivid hallucinations. And they're thinking, oh, maybe she's tired. Maybe, she's not sleeping enough, all that stuff. And she's thinking like, well, maybe the problem isn't that. Maybe it's, something's wrong with the computer or the communications array. And then checking on the communications array. I like that they kind of shout out to Himmer, who I didn't know. I didn't realize, from the last season that actually Uhura got fairly close to him. And maybe this is my just bad recollection, but she got very, very close to him. So it was really nice to see him again. I didn't realize how much actually seeing Himmer, at least alive and well again, how much that would hit. But it was just like seeing a good friend that, you can't see again. And seeing how it affected Uhura, it does suggest like, oh, maybe this is just overwork and, you just haven't had time to grieve and so forth. But no, it's stuff that's really going on. And so to the point where, she has to take off active duty and everything. And this actually leads her to meeting Kirk, who is on the ship. He can take some time off to go see his brother. We see some conflict between them because, Kirk, Jim Kirk, he's becoming the officer that his dad, Kirk Senior, James Kirk Senior, is expecting. And whereas Sam is more of a researcher and he doesn't have the trajectory through Starfleet that his brother's having. And there's definitely tension between, there about, how the younger brother is surpassing the older brother and so forth. And he just aggrieved. But that said, we get, Kirk meeting Uhura for the first time. And, it's funny. She's like, I'm not, don't hit on me. And then later, literally probably a minute later, she literally hits him. Good times. But this leads to them, going, back to her room where she can heal his nose. And we find out, no, Kirk is the guy we expect him to be. He listens. He believes her. He wants to help her figure out what's going on and why is she having these problems. And there's just an immediate, like, a bond, I guess you could say, just someone believing you, yes. But not just a bond, but like a real trust between the two of them, even though they really just met. And that really helps throughout the rest of the episode because, James Kirk is going to be instrumental in helping Uhura and the rest of the crew figure out what the heck is going on. Meanwhile, down on that station itself, the space station that's collecting the dilithium, it's number one is, she's leading the whole task force. And we have, Chief Engineer Pelia, who is down there also. And we kind of get to see the friction between these two. We're so used to the good working relationship between everyone on the ship that seeing the chief engineer and the executive officer kind of butting heads was fun stuff. Carol Kane, she always gets to do fun stuff with Pelia anyway. And the by the rules number one just can't abide by, she just can't abide by. But we find out, of course, that there's more to it than just that. Pelia is not exactly by the rules or anything, but she does discover some sabotage on the ship, on the station, that explains the state of the station, why they're having so much trouble, and why the Farragut and the Enterprise were kind of called over there to figure things out. And this leads us to finding that there is a junior officer on the Farragut that has, or not on the Farragut, that was on the station, that was causing the sabotage that explains why everything's not like in full working order. And we find out that when we see him, he is in fact having similar, hearing similar things and having similar hallucinations. So it's not just Uhura in her mind. So it actually is something that's going on, and this leads to eventually he kind of in sick bay on the Enterprise, he injures someone, goes on the run, kills someone, and he's in order to essentially again do some more sabotage. And Uhura confronts him, and she gets saved from it by James Kirk. Again, the connection between Uhura and Kirk that has formed in this short amount of time, very important. I think it's going to explain a lot of things in the future, especially when they go into the original series. As they proceed forward, there's everyone's, she's seeing things. Everyone is just trying to get everything online, and of course, Pelia and number one, they kind of put aside their differences now that the saboteur is gone to get the thing online. And but this is the point at which that Uhura kind of realizes, that someone's trying to connect with me. They're trying to talk to me, and the reason why it didn't work with the other guys, he didn't understand what was going on, and them trying to talk to him sort of burned out his brain. He couldn't talk, and he could only just act. He couldn't talk, or anything like that. And that this was something similar that was going on, that she had to figure out how to talk to, or at least understand these people before it, similarly burned out her brain. I did want to make an aside also that a callback. They are good at calling back to previous episodes. Well, La'an meets Kirk, Prime Kirk. She had a thing with the alternate universe Kirk, and now she gets to meet him for the first time. And I like the fact that it's a subtle, not a subtle, that, I mean, they meet and they talk, and you see La'an is affected by it, but that she maybe isn't pursuing this. She just wants to, see him and make sure everything's cool and everything. Maybe to be reminded of the Kirk that she lost and didn't ever actually get to know beyond that short amount of time. Also reminds me that the fact that Uhura was able to connect with Kirk, this is just Kirk as a person. Like he's good with people, and he's good with connecting with people. I think that's a great callback to the character itself. And I'm glad that, this version of him definitely embodies that. But as the episode, kind of proceeds, we find out that there is an alien race that, maybe from a different dimension, but they are projecting into but into that reality, into the dilithium. They are entangled with the dilithium atoms, and that every time that the Enterprise or the space station scoops up and uses dilithium, they're literally killing these beings, and that's what they've been trying to say. That's why, Uhura was saying zombie hammer, and she was saying all these people dead and everything like that, is that they were trying to communicate that. And Pike, he's been very, understanding this whole time of what's going on and very concerned. Also shows his trust in Uhura by, as soon as she says, this is what's happening, we've got to, stop. We've got to stop doing what we're doing. We've got to destroy that station. Doesn't question, doesn't take time to study. Just, all right, you said it. I trust you. Let's blow that thing up. And they do so, after getting everyone off the station. And that immediately solved the problem. And I think, I love that about Pike, that he has absolute faith in his people around him. He trusts that what she said was true and that there was no reason to not immediately act. I do question whether it made any sense to blow the whole thing up. That's an extremely expensive, big old space station when you could just, shut off the dilithium collectors or something like that. Why'd you have to blow the whole thing up? But you know what? I'm sure Starfleet will have plenty of questions about that. But of course, he's the captain. He's going to take all of the heat if anything happens. Very, the ethical, implications of that whole act are significant. That they'd rather just blow up that big thing rather than, be a danger to another species. I liked it. Yeah, but I mean, that's Pike. That's who he is. And I did enjoy seeing Pike. He meets who eventually is going to be his successor, and there's much respect between them. I think they got to see who each other, who each other are, and of course, Kirk knows Pike, obviously, and I just think overall they ended with Spock meeting, Spock and Uhura, Spock meeting Kirk and Uhura, and them getting together, and just kind of that pan away just made you feel good if you're a Trek fan. Knowing what they're going to do together later on, that this is the start of that beautiful, friendship. I really liked it. Like I thought this was a really good episode. I think it's not as good as the previous few, but that's not a mark against it. I think quality wise, this season has really stepped it up. Like this would be among one of the better episodes of the previous season, and I'm really glad we're getting, especially because it was Uhura centric, and also getting to see more Prime Kirk excellently portrayed. I couldn't ask for too much more from a Kirk. Just not a Shatner impression, but his own thing was still very much in the vein of James T. Kirk. Really enjoyed it. So overall, good, really good episode, and I really enjoyed it. So what did you guys think about it? What did you think about what I had to say? Get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there, and of course, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And while you're down there, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps with the channel so that more people see these videos, and it helps to grow the channel. All right, thanks for joining me. Come back next week. I'm going to be reviewing the very next episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Until then, I've been Mo, your commentator extraordinaire on all things pop culture, and I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.